Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's layout is for the retro TV programs competition over at Mystical Scrapbooks. This is week 5 of an 8-week competition. The program we're looking at this week is Friends. The colour palette is rainbow, so we need lots of colours. The required item on your layout somewhere, you must have a coffee cup or a champagne glass. The technique is to use some glitter, and the bonus item from the bonus kit, which is not compulsory, is a fabric heart. The papers I'll be using for this layout are Simple Stories Hello Summer paper range, and I'll be using the Life is Good for my background, so that's a nice rainbow colour right there. I'll also be using Oh Happy Day and this one called Catching Rays. So they're the 3 papers I'll be using. Because this layout is so bright and colourful, I've got 3 photos on the layout as well, so there's not a lot of other embellishments, but I will be including this glitter because glitter is one of the things that's required. I'm using Dress My Crafts rainbow glitter chunks, and I'll be using the coffee cup chipboard from the kit and the little purple fabric heart. I'm going to start by making a mat for my large photo. My photo was 5 by 7 and I've trimmed it down to 4.5 by 7. I'm cutting this piece of Oh Happy Day 8 inches by 6 inches, and then I'm going to tear along one of the 8-inch edges on a bit of an angle. I used an emery board to file around each of my photos to give them a nice fine white border. This helps them stand out from the photo mats. I used my black Versacolor ink cube to ink around the edges of my photo mat, and then used double-sided tape to attach my photo to the mat. So for the rainbow element for my layout, I'm going to use this page. It's called Life is Good, and that is going to be my background. So as you can see, very bright but very colourful. My 2 smaller photos are going to be matted on this paper called Catching Rays. Now these are just not a uniform size photo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have about 3/16 of an inch showing on each edge of the photo. So that means I'm going to cut my mats 3/8 of an inch wider and 3/8 of an inch deeper than my photos, and that will give me a 3/16 border all the way around. Normally I'd use a 1/4 of an inch border, so putting like an 1/8 of an inch around each edge, but I wanted a little bit wider mat for these 2 photos to help them stand out from that brightly coloured background. Once I've got them trimmed down to size, I'm going to use my black ink cube and ink around the edges, and then use double-sided tape to attach the photos to the mats. I'm going to add a black border to my page, so I take a sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock and cut a 1-inch frame, so I'm basically gutting it so that I can use the centre of the cardstock for my title, etc. So I do this quite often. I start cutting at 1 inch and stop cutting at 11 inches, and I make sure I've got the edge of my cardstock on the 1-inch mark on my trimmer. Then I ink around the striped pattern paper and use double-sided tape to attach that to my black frame. So now one of the other requirements is to use glitter on your layout. So this little chipboard coffee cup is in the optional kit, and I decided to use that because it's breakfast. I thought, well, the coffee cup is a good idea, so I'm using some white acrylic paint to give that a coat, so that I don't get that grey or that browny colour, crafty colour showing through my glitter. When the paint was dry, I gave a liberal coat of my art glitter glue, which dries clear, to the chipboard piece, and then I added the Dress My Crafts rainbow glitter chunks on top of that, and pressed down on that with I put some paper on top and then rolled over it with my brayer to make sure that that glitter was well and truly pushed into the glue, and then set that aside to dry. I'm going to add some splatters to my background, so I'm using some black acrylic paint and some white acrylic paint. I'm just spraying a bit of water on top of those, mixing it in with my palette knife, and then using my fan brush to splatter over the background. For a little bit of added texture, I'm going to use this black and white baker's twine and wrap that around my photo, the larger photo, just around the bottom area, so it's not covering up any of the detail. I'm going to wrap that around about 3 times and then secure it at the back with some double-sided tape and just tie a knot in the front. I'm not good with bows, you'll very rarely see me tie a bow, but I'm going to just tie a double knot here. I've added some scrap cardboard to the back of all of my photos, and now I'm going to attach them to my layout just using double-sided tape. Then I use my liquid glue to attach my little glittered coffee cup. I use art glitter glue as my liquid glue. I find it works great. It dries perfectly clear and perfectly matte, and if you get it somewhere you don't want it to be, you cannot notice it once it's dry. I've used my Sizzix 662667 alphabet die to cut my title from the same black cardstock that I cut out of the middle of this layout. And I'm just going to use my art glitter glue and my reverse tweezers to attach that to the bottom of my page. I'm going to use that stripe on the pattern paper as my straight line, so hopefully that will work fine. These reverse tweezers are fantastic for fiddly little things like this, so if you haven't got a pair, I would recommend that you grab a pair because they are so handy. I use my liquid glue again to attach that little fabric heart up there next to my coffee cup, or slightly overlaps it, and then I put something heavy on top of that to let it dry so that I know it's going to stay in place. Then I use my fountain pen to draw a double scribbly line around the pattern paper section of the outside edge of my layout. Even though I had that black border around it with the cardstock, I felt it just needed a little bit something extra there in the dark area, so that's why I've done that with my fountain pen. So that's my layout for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video, and you can join me for my next video. There will be links below to the challenge and also to all of the products that I've used on this layout. There will be links to those below as well. If you are not already a subscriber, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, all those good things, and if you leave me a comment, I will definitely get back to you. So thanks again, and I hope you can join me for my next video.